Next question is from Mayor Harrington to Councilor Balzotti. Thank you.
Thank you. As mayor, when we were faced with losing our police officers and having to lay off our new police recruits, I was able to secure funding to bring the police recruits back, plus add additional officers and new cruisers. I also brought in funding to upgrade technology in the police department, including new computer systems to support the CompStat policing model and the state-of-the-art license plate recognition cameras. What would you do to strengthen the ranks of our police department, and specifically, where would you find the money to fund your idea?
Jim, it is wonderful that you added new police officers, that we have new equipment. We have one of the finest police forces in the state, and they work very hard, and you can see from the headlines today the work that they did in working with the individuals on Elsie Road to be able to stop a break-in and catch a potential robber. But the fact of the matter is that all of those things that you mentioned were done with grant money that was available, that you would have been negligent as a mayor, and we would have been negligent as a community to not have gone after. And there's a fine grant writer in the police department who writes many of these grants and should be given the credit for having received that money.
First of all, Councilor, so you don't have any ideas on how you would strengthen the police force? That was the question.
No, Mr. Mayor,
that was the question. I asked you.
You specifically stated that.
I asked you to say, what would you do to strengthen the ranks of the police department? And if you have a proposal to do that, specifically, where would you find the money to fund it?
I would strengthen the police force by working with them in a more cooperative manner. What I wouldn't do is agree in their contract to an overtime situation that, now that you've instituted a CompStat program, has created a grievance within the city, when the CompStat program is designed for people to become familiar with their areas and territory, and in fact now overtime is awarded by the person who has served the fewest hours. So it totally circumvents what CompStat is about. So that's one thing I wouldn't do, is I wouldn't have agreed to that and then started a program that sets up to failure.
Well, you did agree with it. You voted for the money in the budget that funded it.
But we vote for the money, not the language, Mr. Mayor.
You can't fund the contract or have a contract without the money, so if you vote for the money, you agree to the contract. But the point that I'm trying to make is, is that you don't have any specific ideas how to do this. You're going to say that you're going to try and protect the union members?
No.
That's not the job of the mayor. The mayor is to protect the 100,000 people that live in Brockton.
I'm not saying...
I work cooperatively. I have the support of the police union. They have filed hundreds of grievances against me. Because you know why? Because they don't run the city, they work for the city. I run the city, and we try to do it in a fair and equitable manner, but they have to live by certain rules. When I first became the mayor, there was 23 police officers out injured on duty. That means there was 23 police officers who should have been on the street and weren't. And one guy was owed over 6 years. I eliminated all that. We got into the contract. We got light duty, so now they don't stay out, they come back. In addition to that, there was over 40 police officers who had take-home vehicles. I eliminated that. In addition to eliminating it, I turned around, and it wasn't an easy decision. They were all mad at me. I can live with that because it was the right thing to do. But I also was fair. I was also fair to them because I said at the same time I was entitled to an automobile as a mayor, and I wouldn't take it if they couldn't take it. So I've treated them fairly and very openly.
Jim, I would never say that I would protect union members. What I said was that I wouldn't institute a program or agree to things in a contract that directly conflict each other. But what I will say is that I will continue to advocate for the state police high-intensity patrols, continue to advocate for the Shannon grants, and continue to, just as you have done, which is apply for every grant that's available and work with the police department grant writer to do so. And that's exactly what you've done.
So if you're going to do what I'm going to do, why would they make a change?
Thank you.
Because I am going to do it in a manner that is transparent and accountable, and in working with people and going out in the community, and that's why.
Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you. All right. Next question from Councilor Balzotti to Mayor Harrington, please.
Back to my question section. Jim, this year our city had just a semblance of a Memorial Day parade that we've had in the past. You and your administration dropped the ball and then tried to cobble one together. At the end of the day, it comes down to having a plan for a Memorial Day holiday that happens every year. How, under your administration, did the city not have a plan to honor the men and women who have served our country on Memorial Day?
Well, we did have a plan, and we actually executed it, Councilor. Generally what happens with that parade, if you know anything about it, is that the Veterans Association runs it. We fully funded the parades in the budget. The veteran agent, who was an integral part of it, became ill, was out of work, and eventually left and retired, was out of work for over a year. We put in a temporary person into that office who worked in there but wasn't on top of this. And once it came to my attention that they were thinking about not doing it, we put the plan on. We put the parade on. But the point of the matter is, you're going to deal with personnel matters on a regular basis. You can't be there for every one of these things that are going on. But what you got to do is, when you find out what needs to be done, you need to fix it. And that's what we did. And the parade went on. And I know there was a lot to do about it, but I was just as disappointed that we got that negative press that it wasn't going to be done. But, you know, the truth of the matter was, it did get done. And the veterans were honored. And I certainly honored it with, because I served with some of them. So I feel very, very strongly about that.
Councilor Balzotti.
Mr. Mayor, Jim, I've worked in that Memorial Day parade every year, so I'm well aware of the Memorial Day event. And I'm also well aware of planning, because planning and events organization is part of what I do at Bridgewater State College. And I would certainly make sure that every annual event that the city has is accounted for and ready to go before I would institute a new event like a New Year's Eve celebration. I would certainly make sure that our veterans were honored and recognized with the annual tradition they always have.
They were, Council. I don't know where you're going with this, but they were. And the other point is, as the mayor, you're not an events planner. The job is much bigger than that. You don't have the time to deal with that kind of detail. There's many other things that are going on a regular basis that need to get done. And I'll be very clear about that. You haven't shown anything over your career that shows that it prepares you to lead an organization with thousands of employees and a multi-million-dollar budget.
Jim, I have 12 years of business experience leading the cities of Brockton. I've been in the neighborhoods, I've been with the neighbors, I know the people, I've been through the school system. I have far and away enough experience to lead the city of Brockton. And actually, as a mayor, I would be out amongst and talking with employees. I would know what was going on. I would not be insular in an office not knowing what's going on down the hall, or downstairs, which is where Veterans Agents is. I would have knowledge and communication with employees.
Thank you.